I'm sitting at home Monday night, fast forward a couple of days. I'm sitting at home Monday night, and about 7:30, I get a message from her saying, "Hey, you're on Garth Brooks' Inside Studio G right now." I'm like,
holy crap.
"No, I'm not."
Yeah.
Guys, what is up?
All
This
right,
is
what is
podcast
up?
number 6. We have the one and only J. Peterson. Let's give him a round of applause, everybody.
Oh, thank you. You guys are too kind. I appreciate it.
Of course. We're gonna let Chase give you a little intro, explain a little bit about you, and then we're gonna let you explain a little bit, just to give the viewers an idea of who we have. So,
Cool.
So this is Jay Peterson. He is part of a band called Reckless Intent. I would say you've been uploading videos for about 5 years now, but
Yeah, probably about that.
yeah. But you got your rise to fame with the Garth Brooks song, right?
Yeah, that it was certainly unexpected. Very cool though, and I owe a lot to people other than just close friends and stuff.
Yeah.
But I've had people, that I just don't really talk to on a
Lot of
regular
connections.
basis. Yeah,
Yep.
that have shared videos and stuff like that, and yeah, with the Garth thing, I mean, again, totally unexpected. It was awesome just to have him in town.
Yeah.
But I got to meet him a couple years ago, actually.
Yeah, I think I remember.
Yeah, and I mean, we can get into that in a little bit, but yeah, just it's funny how things work. Like one day you're just sitting there in a video, recording a video in your car. Next thing you know, you're on Garth Brooks's internet show, and
right.
I was blown away. Like,
It's insane how stuff can travel on the internet and get to people.
oh, it is.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's definitely been a blessing, that's for sure. It's helped out a lot. So.
Where were you when you found out Garth Brooks is hearing this song? Walk me through that moment where you're like, oh my gosh, Garth Brooks just heard me sing.
Yeah. Well, I was actually, to back up, that Friday night, the night before his concert, I was working my shift on the you're good, on the sheriff's department, and like we had talked, I post videos all the time and stuff, and I didn't really think anything of it. It was just another video to me. Well, I kept seeing on Facebook all my friends were posting that had gone to the sound check that night, and they were talking about how it was like almost a mini concert in itself. Like he really did it up.
Yeah.
Right.
So everybody's talking about it. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. So I was like, I'll just do a video real quick. And I was talking a little bit about that. And then I was working the next night at the concert to do security and everything. And, that was awesome too.
Yeah.
And so doing the video, I was mentioning the sound check, talking about the concert the next day, talking about the special that they were doing on CBS for that concert.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, I did, at the time, All Day Long, his famous song had come out. And so, that was one of my new favorite songs.
Yeah.
And I'm loving it. I'm a huge Garth Brooks fan anyway. So I just did a clip of that song. Little did I know, it got forwarded to the right people, and actually one of the people from B100 saw it. I didn't find this out till later, but one of the people from B100 saw it. Well, I'm friends with Brittany Bailey from the evening show on B100, and I'm sitting at home Monday night, fast forward a couple of days. I'm sitting at home Monday night, and about 7:30, I get a message from her saying, "Hey, you're on Garth Brooks' Inside Studio G right now." I'm like,
Holy crap.
"No, I'm not."
Yeah.
Yeah. So I text her back, and I'm like, "Whatever." She's like, "No, I'm serious." She sends me the link to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I click on it, and I'm like, "Oh my god,
This is real.
It's like a lot like this. He's got a big TV screen in the background.
Yeah,
And all of a sudden, he's doing his thing with all the other internet people and Twitter and
Right.
Facebook and everything. All of a sudden, my video pops up.
Here's Jay Peterson.
Yeah, and he turns and he's looking at it. And I'd done it in my car, and we have those red lights and stuff in the police car. And so, that one right there. And so he's kind of looking at it, and he's reading my name tag, and he sees that I'm a cop and all this stuff. And so then they play my video for him, and he's thinking, that's cool. He's mentioning my shows and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. And then it gets to the video of me singing, and for whatever reason, he really liked it.
Yeah, he
and,
was digging it. He was
yeah. So, and I'm just sitting there in awe. My eyes are as big as saucers. My mouth's on the floor.
Starstruck.
Yeah.
I can imagine that feeling of just because he was like he was saying that you need to take his spot. He's
Yeah.
like he's so good. Like I don't even need to.
Well, hey, here's my number. You give me a call any day. Man.
He's like, I will.
Yeah.
One day the Garth Brooks and Jay
Yeah.
Peterson collab.
Oh
Dude,
man,
that'd be insane.
now that would be just even if I never made it any bigger or did
Just
anything
that'd
on
be
my
enough.
own, That would be awesome.
Garth Brooks, if you're seeing this, get this man on stage with
It's
you.
out on your on your
You know
page.
who he is.
Well, I'll tell you what, Garth. If by the grace of God that you do see this, you get a hold of B100, you get somebody on my Facebook page, whatever. We can do something when you come back to Notre Dame in a couple of years. I promise.
Something
you
will
that.
work
So,
out for sure.
Now
That
I'm
would be
sending
awesome.
this video to Garth Brooks.
All
It's
right.
happening.
Hey, share away.
You gotta make it happen.
Everyone in the comments, spam Garth.
exactly.
Play this clip.
You
I
want-
want to let them see it.
Is it weird watching it for yourself?
We are
A little
only
bit.
less than
You're like, I've
24
seen
hours
this
away
one.
now from the biggest concert, probably of
How
the
long ago was
century,
this?
definitely of my
This would have been
life.
back in
Like
October.
10 months ago.
Yeah.
Never anything bigger than this. Garth Brooks at Notre Dame tomorrow. From what I hear and what I've seen on Facebook, the sound check tonight was amazing. It was a concert in itself from what a lot of people are telling me. But tomorrow is just going to be incredible. There really are no words to describe how awesome this is going to be. Once in a lifetime deal. Going to be televised in December on CBS. So cool. But let's do a little Garth right now.
Oh yeah.
And here's where you got your fame.
This is where
This
it all
moment
changed.
right here,
Where
little
it
did
all
you know.
Somebody's got to start the weekend. Somebody's got to unwind. Somebody's got to find that honky tonk out on the county line.
This makes you want to.
With pretty things and the
Really
band
good.
swings
I
and
love
gets
this
them all out on the floor. If we're gonna get the party started, somebody's got to swing them doors. Somebody's got to feed that jukebox. Somebody's got to pour that beer. Somebody's got to get on around and raise some
I
hell
said they play
in
some radio. I
here.
went bad at it.
Somebody's got to dance for the women, spin into a country song.
High notes.
I
Even
could
Garth was like, he hit
live
those.
life all day long.
Was this your first run through of it?
Yeah, well, I mean, when it's been on the radio, I've sang it and stuff.
Yeah, right,
but like this was like
for that video. Yeah, I turned it on. I found the clip for that on YouTube on
The
you know,
instrumental?
like just an
Yeah.
instrumental
Yeah.
or karaoke version basically.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just did that, and
Ran through it.
I mean, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Garth Brooks.
yeah.
And anytime anything new of his comes out, like I'm on it.
Mm-hmm.
And whether I record it or not, I'm always singing and stuff like that. You know, got
That's
all his
awesome.
albums and everything. So.
Got over 100
Yeah.
shares. That's insane.
Well, going back, you know, even as far as middle school when he was really, you know, popular and starting out and
Yeah.
all that stuff, his career was really, you know, taking off. Even back then, I
You were
mean, just
following him?
huge
Garth
fan.
Brooks.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
So
You definitely got the country twang. Like, there's no
Yeah.
denying you got the country
You got
twang.
it.
yeah, there's. I do a little bit of other stuff, but country has always just been my thing.
Yeah, see?
Not just because I enjoy it, but I think it suits my voice a little bit more
Yeah.
than the other genres. You know, I like
Thought
rock.
about
and-
rapping. Some R&B.
Probably not a big rap guy. I go back old school. You know.
Yeah, your band does a little bit of southern rock too.
Yeah. Reckless Intent. We have just kind of got our feet planted, and we're starting to take off with things right now. We just did the Elkhart County Fair.
That was probably
it was
exciting.
awesome
Yeah.
show.
I saw that.
Yeah, and you know things are just kind of moving from there. We've got Night Out Against Crime. We're doing in downtown Elkhart next week.
August 6th,
Tuesday.
right?
Yep, August 6th.
Right here.
Yep.
Check it
But-
out, guys.
Yes, definitely check it out. But yeah, we do a lot of things. I mean, we're even going to throw in some, you know, like more rock style, not just southern rock, but you know, Bon Jovi and you know,
Oh, yeah.
guys, you know, groups like that.
Wow.
You know, stuff that we know we can do and do well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we love that. Man, my band, we're older, not old,
Yeah.
but we're older. You know, so
Not too old to sing and have a good time.
Exactly. Something like that, a good
Yeah,
time.
we still like having a good time and all that, but yeah, I mean we're pretty versatile. I think the musicians I have in my band are amazing. I mean,
Right.
and it was kind of funny with that too. Like when I first started thinking about doing a band. Oh yeah, there's some of our pictures. Cool. When I first started thinking about it, it was actually a couple of years ago at the Night Out Against Crime they had in 2017. I got a call from one of the people that I'd known through the police department there, and they said, hey, would you mind doing some entertainment for our night out against crime? And I'm thinking, okay, that'd be cool.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, and so at first I was thinking, okay, is this going to be like karaoke type stuff? Am I just going to stand up there on a stage all by myself and sing?
Like, hi, I'm Jay Peterson.
Yeah. And I'm like, as fun as that might be, it's kind of just
it's unprepared.
Yeah, and it's like it's just a dude up there singing.
Right.
So I made some phone calls. I knew a guy who played guitar, and he knew people who played in bands before, which is kind of part of what we have here. In fact, I'll just introduce him now to you. The guy on the far left in the overalls.
I love the overalls.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's awesome. That's our lead guitar player. His name is Mike Frederick. We call him Fredo. The guy next to him is the guy I was just talking about, the first guy I called, Steve Hugenboom. He's an acoustic guitar player for us. I've known him for years. He's very humble. He will not tell you he's good, but he is a very good guitar player.
I love him.
Very good friend of mine as well. And then the guy in the middle is Mike Daly. Know him from the Sheriff's Department. He's an extremely talented musician, can play almost anything.
Really?
Another guy that's in the band, just wasn't in these pictures, is Josh Whitehead. Again, he's a lot like Mike Daly. He is extremely talented on pretty much any instrument you put in his hands.
Sweet.
Piano, or not, well, actually, yeah, he does play piano. But
That's a hard instrument.
Yeah, and we can be in a rehearsal, and he'll just jump in on, and same thing with Mike. He'll just jump in on anything.
Right.
If we need somebody on drums that night, if Doug isn't there, he can just jump in and do whatever, which is awesome. And then nice. Doug, the guy I was just mentioning, on the far right, that's Doug Fine. He's our drummer. He's very talented as well. And he actually was a recommendation from a friend of mine. Way back after the Garth thing happened, I started getting a lot of phone calls for different things. And one was from the Indian Motorcycle Place. They wanted me to do something there for their Veterans Day celebration, which was awesome. And then another phone call I got was from a lady that her son was dying of cancer. And it was really very humbling. She asked if I would be willing to come in. He was in the hospice house at that point. Asked if I'd be willing to come in and do something because he was a huge Garth Brooks fan.
Wow.
And so I said, sure, I would love to. Met up with them the following week, and that was the soonest I could get in. And I'm thinking, okay, if he's in hospice, we really need to kind of do this soon because we don't know how much time he's going to have.
Right.
And so we go and do the thing, and during the little singing portion of it, we were doing Friends in Low Places, and I was having everybody kind of sing along, And for the most part, while I was there that night, he was kind of mostly out of it, just from the medication and just being tired and all that stuff. And this is one of the coolest things. If I never make it big, if I never do anything cooler than what I've already done, this will be probably the highlight of it. I was standing there and we were all singing, and we got to the chorus of Friends in Low Places, and he actually opened his eyes and you could see him singing along.
Wow,
that's awesome.
I bet that was a moment to savor.
I was looking at him, and I was just standing right in front of the bed, and I was looking at him, and I couldn't almost sing the rest of the song.
It's got to be
I was getting kind of,
yeah. Wow.
So, but yeah, I mean that thing was so cool to do, and then later on, when we started talking about really putting this band thing together, was when I ran into the lady who does the bookings for the fair. And she said, hey, we want you to kind of maybe come in and do something at the fair this year. And I'm like, that's awesome.
Dude, big time.
I'd love to.
That's a perfect spot.
Yeah.
Biggest county fair in the nation?
Well, yeah.
That's a big deal.
It is. Yeah.
Soldier Boy was there before.
Yeah, and I'm like,
a ton of huge country
artists. You never know what can happen from a show like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we went ahead, and I said, so are you wanting like a full band and stuff? And she's like, well, do whatever you feel like you want to do. And I'm like, well, this is the fair. I can't just go up there. It was like the night out. I'm thinking, I can't just go up there and just sing.
I can't do this again.
Yeah.
We got to have a show.
Yeah. So I got a hold of the guys again, and I said, because we lost a couple of people. The one picture that you had up was when we were playing on stage. That was the original show we did a couple years ago at the night out with our original band. Well, we lost 2 of those guys because they moved away. And so I had to replace them. Well, the lady whose son had the cancer, I put a post up on Facebook saying we were looking for a drummer. So she texts me and says, hey, I know of this guy named Doug. He's a very good drummer, and he was playing in bands for a while, but he's been out of it, and he's been looking to get back into playing music. I'm like, that's great. So I ended up calling him, talked to him for about 10 minutes or so. We thought, okay, we'll give you a shot. and he actually invited us to his house. He had a whole thing set up in his basement to play.
Wow.
And so we get there and we all hook up and start playing, and we're like, "Yep, you're our guy."
Yep, this is it.
Yep.
So this is Doug.
Yep, that's Doug.
It's crazy how stuff like that works. Like,
yeah. It's all fallen into place so nicely. And the cool thing too about it, when we get together and rehearse or practice, they can just, like, if there's a break in the practicing or whatever, somebody will just start playing a song that we aren't even working on.
Mm-hmm.
Just something that they like.
Just to listen to.
Yeah, and everybody will jump in and start playing.
That's
awesome. And it's like we've played it for the last 2 years.
Right.
It's just insane how talented they are, and
what music can do, man.
Yeah. And
like,
I mean, we're talking any kind of stuff. We're playing like old school rock. We're playing everything.
Right.
You guys got it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a blessing to have guys like that in your band. I mean, it makes life so much easier for a singer.
Yeah, I bet.
So,
I bet.
It's cool because, like, even if, like you said, like, if you don't make it big, which I don't see why you want it. Garth Brooks loves you, dude.
Hopefully, we're hoping.
But it's like, it's just a good time, you know? Like, it's something you love to do. Like,
you're living that life.
You're not doing it to get big.
Yeah.
You know? You're doing it because you love it.
Yeah.
And that's, like, a thing of its own. Just that passion driving you is super cool.
Yeah, and we talk about that a lot during our practices. You know, it's like we get together and we have so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, playing in front of people is awesome, and that's the goal of ours. That's what we want to do. But even when we're just sitting around practicing, it's so much fun just being around those guys and cutting up and, you know, playing, like I said, whatever song comes to our minds, and even when we're working on the set, you know, we're having fun doing that. We had a pool party at Steve's house, and we invited all of our family and everything, and all the kids and all that, and they got together, and we literally had a mini concert in his living room.
Wow.
And we're just all jumping around having a good old time.
Yeah.
Like at an actual little country bar or something.
So I mean, it's been really cool. So
that's awesome. So you've been on the stage quite a few times. You still get the nerves every time you go up there?
Well, for the fair show, that was a little nerve-wracking just because it was such a big thing for us.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a lot like other things that you do. Once you get through that first verse or the first chorus or even the first song, sometimes those nerves go away. And with the fair people, they really enjoyed it. They seem to anyway. And after that first song, and then you get that reaction from them, and then you see other people starting to come and sit down. You know, because it's an open event. They can come and go as they please.
If they want to stay there and they like it.
Exactly.
If they're sitting there, that means they enjoy it.
Exactly. And so seeing more people show up as the thing goes along, you know, you get that confidence built up, and the nerves just completely go away.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, Mike Daly, the guy in the middle, you know, he's all amped up all the time about that type of stuff. And don't hate me for saying this.
He's the hype man of the group.
Yeah, but he's like, well, he's so nervous, like, the whole week leading up to that show, he's just like, oh man, okay, we'll do this and this. I know I'm just gonna be so nervous and all this stuff. I'm like, it's okay, man, it's all right. But sure enough, you know, as soon as we got out there and started playing, everything just was going well, and he was having a good old time. He was showing off a little bit for the people, and and Josh, the guy that wasn't in this picture, but he's our other guitar. He plays bass most of the time for us right now. But I mean, he's jumping off the stage.
That's awesome.
Yeah, jumping off the drum sets.
That makes it fun for the crowd.
Running around the stage. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I saw you post a couple 30-second clips, which I watched. But I didn't see no jumping off the stage.
Well, yeah, you'll probably see. I have a really good photographer, Nikki Fletcher, by the way. If anybody's looking for a photographer,
Nikki Fletcher.
Nikki Fletcher.
I feel like that sounds super familiar.
It does sound familiar.
I've known her forever. We went to school together, and her and her daughter actually came out and they did some photography, and they're the ones that actually took these pictures too.
Oh, really? Nice.
But she got some video, and I know some other people got videos, so we're working on trying to get all that together and
that's awesome.
Post them. But yeah,
that sounds like a good time.
It is definitely a good time. We have a lot of fun.
So a little less about country. So how is your pro wrestling going?
You got your comeback. You recently retired like a couple
Chase and
years
I are
ago.
actually huge fans of that.
Oh, really?
And we used to go when we were kids.
Oh, awesome.
In like 2002, I think, I went to the stadium that you were at, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan was there, and I got to arm wrestle him.
Oh, yeah.
And you've been doing it
and
since
everything.
1990. Yeah, it was super like cool moment for me. Shark Boy, like went to see those.
Shark Boy was our favorite.
And you've been doing it since 1999, so I'm like, I've seen the Sarge.
Yeah.
Like, I've had to watch you guys show. I was like, when I found out you were doing that, I was watching the videos. think I got it
gosh.
pulled up. I have a question about one of them here.
All right.
Yeah, I was watching this and I'm like, dude,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is exactly like, holy crap! Like, this is the stuff I would go to show. Not even just here. They had like
They had
shows other places.
Mhm.
Shark Boy. I don't know. Like,
Yep.
One
I
in
wrestled
the
Shark
red-
Boy before.
One dude, you did?
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
my favorite.
dude,
guy.
he's the Sarge, bro.
Yeah, back in 07, I wrestled Shark.
Wow.
He was, he was actually one of our mainstays for the company back then, about 2006, 2007. A buddy and I ran a company in Elkhart here, and we had him booked on several shows. But yeah, that was something that I had always wanted to do since I was a kid too.
Dude, I bet.
Dude, that sounds like it's just a fun
That
time.
just
Oh,
sounds
yeah.
so fun.
You have a blast, and,
Yeah.
and this was my first match in 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so they said that you had like retired from
Yeah.
wrestling and then you came back for this show.
My last match was in 2016 against Greg the Hammer Valentine. And that was actually at the Clash, and it was my retirement match.
Okay.
Awesome show with him. Had a great match with him, but at the time I was so busy with work, and it just I was getting older, and we're a week in now, and my wrist is still hurting, and my neck is still sore.
I
I
saw
bet
you
that's
do
a
like
lot of
some
movement.
in the air. You like drop
Oh, the
kick,
drop
double.
kick, yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
holy crap! That man got up there and
Yeah,
just drop kicked someone.
I'm not
Take
a big
it
high
straight to the
flyer,
ground.
but I'll leave my feet every now and then.
Yeah, but I was like, holy, and then you just because wrestling, it's about the showmanship. People
Yeah.
know that not
Right.
all of it's real, but it's the
Right.
showmanship, which is
Right.
like people are like, oh, but you doing stuff that's like you can get hurt.
Yeah, definitely. I've been very fortunate not to be seriously injured during the times that I've done it. Most I ever had, I had a stress fracture in my foot. And, bumps and bruises are part of it, obviously, and I've been cut a few times. But really, it's always been fun. Working for Brian Woodworth, or Brian the Crippler Costello, he's the one that puts these shows on every year. He says this was the last year for it. I don't know whether that's the case or not, because he's been saying that for years. But
Yeah, everyone in this
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah. This one
The
might be
ticket
the last.
sales.
Yeah, it might be the last one for a little while, but who knows? It might come back.
Hopefully.
But yeah, these are always fun. He always brings in some big names, some Hall of Famers and stuff. It was so cool. Afterward, we went to dinner, and I'm sitting across the table from J.J. Dillon, and he managed the Four Horsemen, Ric Flair, and
Wow.
he's been a big time guy behind the scenes in WWE and the WCW when they were still around, and he's if there's anything to do in wrestling, he's done it.
Really?
And,
That's awesome.
To sit and listen to the stories that he had about Andre the Giant,
Wow.
Ric Flair, the Four Horsemen, Barry
Wow.
Windham, all the guys
All
from
the OGs.
back. Yeah, when I was
When you were
growing up.
watching it, yeah.
It was really cool, and a lot of the people that I've gotten to meet and work with in wrestling has been awesome. I started back in '99, and I trained with a couple guys named Jeff and Terry Stafford. They're brothers out of North Manchester, and they had wrestled, a little bit for WCW here and there, and there was a flyer hanging up in a store. One of my buddies called me and said, "Hey, here's this number. I know you want to get into wrestling." So I called him and started driving down every Saturday morning to North Manchester to a dungy old warehouse, jumping in the ring, and I would literally be the first one in and the last one out. We trained for 4 or 5 hours a Saturday, and it was hot, nasty, smelly, dirty.
bet.
Like you couldn't even step off of the padding outside of the ring, or the carpet actually, onto the cement, because it was covered in soot, and you get all that stuff from the ring. Yeah, so you had to change shoes every time you had to go to the bathroom, or if you want to go outside or whatever.
Things that go into shows.
Yeah, and now some guys talk about training back old school and all that. That was old school. It was maybe a little bit later than some, but still, that was old school training. It wasn't this really fancy gym with all these different weights and
Right.
some of that stuff. It was hardcore, just training.
Go in this box
Yeah.
room and train.
Exactly,
basically.
and I loved every second of it, and
I bet.
from there on, it just kind of carried into. I traveled a lot when I first started. My first 5 or 6 years, I was every weekend. Sometimes
We're doing it full time for.
not full time, but as full of part time
Like
as
a
you can
hobby.
be.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely cool. I got to travel a lot of places, meet a lot of people, work with a lot of great people, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. And that was a fun phase of my life, but I've kind of gotten away from that now, and really focusing on the music and seeing where that takes me. And I played semi-pro football at one point before wrestling,
Wow,
and
nice.
so I've been very lucky. I've been very fortunate and blessed to be able to experience a lot of the things that I've wanted to do. You know, when I was a real little kid, I wanted to be a pro football player.
Right.
You know, I wasn't blessed with the height and the size and the speed and
You're blessed
everything
with
else it
the
takes to
muscle,
be a pro football player.
But I wanted to be.
Yeah, I had the drive. I just didn't have everything else.
You got the soul,
Yeah.
kid.
So then I started getting into wrestling. I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty cool too.
It's pretty hardcore.
But yeah, so I mean, I've had a very fun life to this point, and it's certainly not over by any stretch of the word, but it's progressing, and where I'm at right now, I'm having a blast doing the music, and
Yeah.
I really hope that progresses into something more than just this. But you know, like I've said in other interviews with people, if it doesn't go any higher, I have had so much fun, and I've been so blessed to be a part of what I have. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking to take this as far as I can go.
Yeah.
My family's been very supportive, and you know they've been behind it, so
That's awesome.
it definitely helps to have that. That makes things much easier on me, and you know they enjoy coming to the shows and stuff too. So yeah, it's very cool. And you know, people like you guys, I'm very blessed to be a part of stuff like this that helps me.
Oh, dude, we're blessed to have you.
Well, you know, I'm so happy that you've had me, and you know, hopefully we can do
We
this
appreciate
again.
it.
And,
Yeah,
hey,
for
no
sure.
problem,
We
man.
plan on doing like 1 year from now's videos, like where are they
Yeah,
at
man.
now and stuff, because
Definitely.
people we have on, we just want like local stars, basically local talented guests that want to pursue like their personal career, like singing. We have some people do gaming, a bunch of stuff, and I just think like if 574 tunes in and everyone just tunes in and gets together, dude.
There's a lot of talented people around here.
Yes,
Yeah,
we could
there
really
are.
get up there.
Definitely.
Everyone wants to do stuff with the big people. And it's like, we can make big people. You
Exactly.
know, like let's just get together and support local artists and make
Yeah,
them. You know,
exactly.
So
And that's
that's
what's so cool about this. You know, when I first got the word of it, I'm thinking that's really cool. You know, I didn't even know that you guys were doing it yet, and so I started looking a little bit. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. I would love to do something like that. So, yeah, I mean, anytime, I'd love to pop in, give you updates.
Yeah,
Or,
dude,
Yeah,
for
if
sure.
you guys come out to a show sometime,
Oh, yeah.
feel free to come up and say hi.
Yeah,
and-
like whoa.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
yeah, and if you want to do
Two
something
dudes
with
doing
some of the
that.
other guys, you know, whatever, even if it's, you know, at the
Right.
the show, I mean, we would.
Yeah,
love-
dude, I'd be
we would love that.
100% game.
Awesome.
It's awesome.
Play this slap.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. So wrestling is like you said, it's showmanship. Like not
Yeah.
all of it's real, but this.
Yeah.
How do you prep for something like this?
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, you know, with people, a lot of the critics that make fun of wrestling, they just don't understand it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They don't realize the time it takes to prepare for stuff like this. And you just don't jump into a ring and expect to do some of this stuff. Now, you know, there's certain things that you might just be able to just all of a sudden do on the fly.
Right.
But for the majority of it, the stuff that has potential to really injure somebody or yourself,
Yeah.
you have to train for that. You have to work on things, and you have to know how to do them. You have to know how to fall. You have to know how to punch. You have to know how to take a punch. You have to know how to fall from the top ropes. You have all
That's
the
a long
stuff.
fall.
Some
Yeah.
people die from like ladder.
Yeah. Well, and even the one move I do, you know, during this match, we did it was a superplex off the rope, but then Stud, the guy in the corner there, he does the power bomb on me as I'm superplexing Andy Shane, the guy in the corner on the opposite side. And, you know, he's dropping both of us. So for me, normally the suplex, when I take him off the ropes, I mean, yeah, you can feel it. It hurts a little bit, but you don't have that extra push taking you down.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and yes, there's some padding in the ring, and there's a little bit of give, but people don't understand that as well. It's like, when you take these falls, yes, we know how to fall so we don't kill each other,
Right.
but you still have to understand that that's wood and steel.
Either way, you're still falling.
You're still
Exactly.
falling straight
Still
backwards from
falling.
right here.
Exactly.
Still big guy.
And that's no matter what kind of padding or what kind of give is in that ring, it still hurts.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And I'm
if you-
scared to get thrown on a mattress.
If you land the wrong way, you know, even in the middle of the ring, it can really hurt you. So we take good pride. I mean, the guys, these two guys, I've known them for years, and I've wrestled Andy, the guy across the ring there with the green. I've wrestled him so many times I've lost count, but we've
Right.
We've always had fun. We've always protected each other. We've always made sure that we go out there and put on the best show that we can for people. And, you know, that's another thing that I'm very proud of, is that I've never intentionally or even unintentionally injured anybody, you know, because of something I did stupid or because of me being upset about something or whatever. Some guys, they take things a little too far.
Sometimes they sneak in a little.
Exactly.
You seem like you got a
see
level
that.
head, do you, though?
Yeah, well, I mean, the job that I had for so long, you have to be.
You have to be, right?
But yeah, and then, you know, getting into this too, that was never my intention. I didn't want to be some jerk, you know, because you don't last very long in doing stuff like that. People aren't going to book you on their shows.
No one's gonna want you there.
Exactly. Your reputation travels fast with stuff like that. And,
Your reputation is USA, USA. You come out with the Sarge hat on, the flag, everyone's cheering.
The kids eat that stuff up. And,
yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
Like, this is America.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. You know, my character here with Sergeant Peterson it actually, when I first got that gimmick, they wanted me to be a police sergeant, and I was not real new in the department at the time, but I was kind of new, and I'm thinking, I'm not sure if they would really like that.
They'd be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. So he's like, okay, well, why don't we just make you an Army sergeant? I'm like, yeah, that can work. You know, I wasn't in the military, but I could play the part, I guess.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I've had a few different changes to the gimmick over the years, but it's for the most part stayed the same. You know, the campaign hat coming out with the flag, and you know, the kids eat that stuff up. And, I've had my own merchandise and you know stuff like that at the shows. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been really cool. And
That's awesome.
I've had a blast doing it. But this was a fun match, though.
I bet.
If it is my last one, it was a good one.
I just want to play this smack real quick.
Go ahead.
This is a real snack.
Yeah, it definitely
this
is real.
Bob Orton, so he's got his own faction.
Look at him.
Hello, Danny Shane. Sitting back is
Sergeant J.
Like that face right there, that has to be real.
Knocked his boob out of his shirt.
He pulled it out. He pulled it out.
It's such a hard.
No, watch this.
Oh my!
Look, he didn't knock it out.
He
He said, "Give me that."
Cowboy Bob Orton.
Listen to this. Like, this is a real smack.
Yeah.
This camera's like at least
Hello,
that.
Danny Shane. Sitting back is
Sergeant J. Hey, big chop onto the Superman S of Stud on his chest. And again.
It's always fun to watch stuff like that.
I bet that was a great
I watched your whole match, and that part I was just like, dude, that hat, like,
Yeah.
smack, that had a sting, man.
Yeah, it definitely does, and I've had it done to me. There's one of the legends that have worked in a lot of the promotions with me, Bobo Brazil Jr. His dad, Bobo Brazil, one of the most famous wrestlers, you know, back in the day with Dick the Bruiser and the Crusher and all those guys. And but working with Bo, he has got the hardest chop. I'm convinced
That's
in
like
the
steel.
world.
In the world.
It's like getting hit with a 2x4. I mean, that thing. I've wrestled him 2 or 3 times, and every time it doesn't matter who it is, he's gonna chop you.
He's gonna chop you.
He's gonna chop you. And the one match in particular, I was actually wearing a mask for it. I was doing a different gimmick, and he comes into the corner, and I knew it was coming, but he's like, "You ready for this one?" And I'm like, "No." Okay, here we go. He hit me so hard, I thought his hand went through my chest and my spine.
Like, how am I supposed to keep wrestling?
It was awful. Awful. So, yeah. Bo, if you're watching this, thanks for that. I still probably got a handprint on my
I
chest.
have
Still got a
medical bill for you.
Yeah. Some other guys, you know, going back to some of the WWE guys that I've wrestled, I don't know if you remember him or not. He had a short run. His name was Mordecai. And then later on, he came back when they did the ECW reboot with WWE. He was under the name of Kevin Thorne. He was kind of like not really a vampire, so to speak, but kind of along those lines.
Kind
Well,
of
yeah, I
Undertaker?
guess. What's that?
Like Undertaker, kind of.
Kind of. It was kind of a mix of Undertaker and a vampire,
Okay.
if you mix the two together.
I see.
Anyway, I was sitting on the mat for a match against him, and he kicked me in the back. And I swear my spine landed in like the 3rd row.
Oh,
It hurt so bad. I almost went numb for a second. I was scared.
Yeah,
You're like, Frick.
that's the
Yeah.
bat, dude.
Yeah.
you
And I'm
don't mess
thinking, oh no, am I paralyzed? I
Yeah,
still feel everything. I'm okay.
You're like, cut.
Yeah. But yeah, there's been some guys. I was in a tag team match once down in Fort Wayne, and we wrestled these two. They were monsters, just huge. And at one point, the one guy, he pulls me to the side of the ring. I'm in the ring laying on the mat, but he pulls me over to the corner, puts my head up against the ring post, and then he takes a couple steps back and just plants his foot right in the side of my head. And
Gosh.
my ears smacking up
I was
against the
so
post.
unexpected. You're like,
Oh, yeah, it was too. Like I thought he was just gonna put his foot up there.
that makes my head hurt.
Kick. Then he pulls me back towards the center, backs up even further, and takes off like like Roman Reigns does. The running kick, jumps up in the air and just plows it.
Oh my god.
Hits me right in the side of the face. My head snaps over to the side. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm dead.
That's great content.
Oh man.
After that, you're like, I'm never wrestling this
Oh.
guy
He's
again.
like, retirement's coming.
Well, as far as I don't think I did wrestle again after those guys after that. But it wasn't because of that.
It just happened.
Yeah, I'm just very fortunate that I didn't have to again. But, no, they were good guys too. But.
They're very good at wrestling.
Yes.
So you mentioned earlier that like your job that you had in the past, because recently it was just like in May you stopped being an officer, right?
Yeah, I was a police officer for almost 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for the Elkhart City Police Department from 2000 till 2014-ish. Then I moved to South Carolina for a couple of years. I had always wanted to live down there and had the opportunity to go. I got hired by a department down there and I worked with them, and just the money just wasn't there. I tried to make it work as long as I could, and it just I was working all the time and not being able to really enjoy the stuff. So we looked at other places, Texas and Arizona, and even as far as Washington, the Seattle area, North Carolina. It just nothing really seemed to fit. I was actually really close to San Antonio to going down there, but I put my app in and I'd waited for a while. They went through like 2 or 3 changes with their recruiters, and so things kept getting passed to one person to the next, and so I'd kind of given up on that. Plus, they were going to have me go through their full, 33-week academy or something like that, because they had done away with their partial for certified officers.
Yeah.
And so you had to go through the whole thing. I'm like, man, that's a long
Try
time.
to do that again.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez. So then we started looking at coming back here. And all the family and everybody's, they're still, for the most part, they're still here. And then I got hired by the Sheriff's Department. And it was funny because I was up here for my testing. And I'm walking in to do one of my medical tests, and my phone rings. I look at it, and it's a San Antonio number, and I'm like, "You're about a week late." Yeah,
man.
So yeah, I turned that down. But in
But it all worked
hindsight,
out for the best.
yeah, it did really, because the Garth thing probably wouldn't have happened, and just there's been a lot of cool things. The music, obviously the band thing.
Yeah.
Who knows if I'd have been able to do anything like this down there? I mean, I could have, but it probably would have been a lot
Yeah,
harder.
who knows?
So yeah, I mean, there's a reason for everything and why everything happens, and I'm very glad that things have turned out the way they have,
Yeah.
and hopefully things keep progressing and
You
see me up on the big stage someday.
I want to see you on the big stage. I think that'd be super
That'd be
cool,
awesome.
dude.
It would be fun, definitely.
You weren't only just a officer; you were a detective for a year there, weren't you?
Yeah, I did the CSI thing for a while. I was really into that. I really enjoyed it. In fact, before I left South Carolina, that's what I was doing. And then when I came back here, unfortunately, there wasn't an opening at the department for it at the time. And it's probably going to be a little while. And I'm thinking, so I don't know. And I wasn't really looking for anything different. But I just kind of out of the blue got a phone call from a friend of mine. And he said, hey, I've got this job that I think you might be interested in. I was like, I don't know. Let me think about it. And I said, let your supervisors know that I'd probably be interested in talking to them. He said, okay, I'll talk to him tomorrow when I go in. And it wasn't 30 minutes later, he calls me back and says, hey, I went ahead and called tonight. They want you to come in for an interview tomorrow.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Alright.
So I go in and I'm talking to him, and I'm really liking what I'm hearing, and they seem to like me. And before the day was over, I had the job with that, and that same night I called the supervisor at the Sheriff's Department and told him the news, and the week later I was done doing that and on to what I'm doing now, and I have much more time. The schedule that I was working with was not good. I was working 12-hour shifts, and
That's never fun.
Yeah, and the job itself, I loved it when I first got started, and for the first half of my career, it was like, this is the greatest job in the world, and it still is in some ways. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of things had changed over the years with it, and we all know how the public kind of law enforcement
society has made it a lot harder.
Exactly,
Yep.
and not everybody, thankfully, is like that, but we do get a bad rap, unfortunately, because of certain people that have given us a bad name, and it just, you get to a point where you try to shrug that stuff off as much as you can, but it's still, when it's every day, you're bombarded with news stories about people and the way that things have been completely blown out of proportion by some of the media and some of the officials in certain cities, and it really wears you down.
Yeah.
And
like they're not inside seeing what's going on.
Exactly.
Really.
And they take a little bit of information, and before you know it, it's blown into this thing that it never even really was.
Right. Yep.
And I think a lot of things that people don't understand is like first off, everyone knows there's bad people in every field, no matter what. Like you're gonna have the bad seed. You guys don't condone that, but it's like they're like, well, in this situation, this is how it should have been handled. But they don't realize like your job is stressful. Every single day, you don't know if you're coming home.
Exactly.
And every single day, you're dealing with people when they're at their worst. Like, I got my degree in criminal justice, and I was going to pursue that, but now I'm working at Basher, working with kids. But because it was like, I don't know if that's the road anymore. That like, it's too dangerous.
Society
now. Like,
came
you're
about,
dealing with so much where it's like, you have so much stress and so much even trauma from the job that you're dealing with every day that people don't realize that sometimes like
you're human too.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you just like not like snap, but sometimes you just like maybe make the wrong judgment call. And if someone's like, I wouldn't have done that, throw them in that job for 20 years where every single day they don't know if they're gonna come home to see their wife and kids. They don't know if they're gonna get beat up. They don't like, you don't know. It's everything is unknown. And do that for 20 years, and I bet you'll mess up at least once.
Yeah, like you say, there's bad apples in every profession, and unfortunately that holds true for police work as well. But you have to look at the percentage of the bad ones that go out there and intentionally do something that's wrong.
It's so small.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you're talking about probably about 1%.
Yeah, if that.
Of the officers that are in law enforcement throughout the whole country.
Yeah.
That set out to do the job the wrong way, when everybody else is meaning well, trying to do things the right way. And we are counted on to make decisions in a split second. Like, you're talking as quickly as it takes you to blink your eyes. And sometimes those decisions mean life or death. And the way we are trained to eliminate a threat when it's presented. Now, that doesn't always mean shooting somebody. That could be simply taking somebody into custody that is starting to get aggressive, or whether it's a taser, or whether it's even just a restraint
even
of some
just patrolling
sort.
a certain area.
Right.
Hey.
Yeah, exactly. or taking some kind of an action, even if it's stopping and saying something to somebody, hey, you can't do that, or whatever.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's obviously small stuff, but when we are faced with a certain situation where it means either our own life or the lives of others around us, that's our job. We take that job, we take the oath, we make a promise to protect the public, no matter who it is. And if that means eliminating somebody and up into the point of killing them, then that is what we are paid to do. That is our job, because you can't just have anybody do that stuff.
Yeah, no one wants to do that.
Right, exactly.
Either.
Yeah, and that's not what we sign up for.
Yeah.
We don't go into this job saying, okay, I'm going to get a chance to kill somebody.
Yeah, no one wants that.
Those type of guys don't make it.
Yeah.
I mean, that you don't get to be a police officer if that's your mentality.
Yeah, there's like a
for the most part.
whole long psyche.
Yeah.
They do a lot.
Now, not to say that some people can't maybe skate through that, and that probably have, but it's extremely rare.
Right.
Yeah.
So, for people to look at police officers that have a situation like that come up and immediately start going after them and Monday morning quarterback and everything that they do or everything that they say, even if it doesn't have to do with lethal force, even if it's just a traffic stop, you have all these people now that are trying to do things to intentionally get stopped, and then the first thing they're doing is grabbing their video recorder and
trouble.
and they're trying to instigate the problem. And they're the ones that are creating these issues, because any normal human being that goes up to somebody and that person immediately starts antagonizing them and starting to
camera in your face,
and starting to cuss at you and intentionally start arguments just to get a rise out of you. Of course, you know, certain
telling
people,
you how to do your job.
Exactly.
You don't
If
know
you had
the
a
law.
long day, you don't
Right.
know what they've went through, what call they've had to stop by beforehand.
And that's the other thing. You know, people don't take the time to focus on stuff like that. Say, you know, this officer might have just been on his way home, and you ran that red light, and there's 100 other people around here that just saw you do it.
Right.
He can't just not stop you,
Right.
Yeah.
because then they get in trouble for not doing that.
Right.
So that officer stops you on a traffic stop, and you happen to be one of these people that doesn't like police officers, and you want to start something that gets, you know, your 15 minutes of fame, not realizing that officer may have just come from watching a baby die,
Exactly.
or dealing with a family situation where somebody had some kind of a tragedy and they had to be the first ones there to assist those people. And the emotional and mental and physical toll that stuff like that takes on an officer is tremendous. It's not anything that any normal, regular, everyday citizen is going to experience, you know. And that's the thing that gets to me sometimes, is nobody really stops to think about what affects us and the stuff that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
And I say us, you know, I consider myself, I will
You've
always
done it for
be,
almost
You're in the
20 years.
brotherhood.
I will always be that. It'll always be a part of my life. And you know, I am relieved that side of my life is done now, and all that. But at the same time, I can tell you, if something ever went down, that would kick in, and I would immediately go back into how I was trained,
Right.
and I would do whatever I needed to do to protect whoever I was around.
Right.
And I don't say that because I think I'm some hero, but that's
what
been
you
Kind of
Yeah,
are though.
right.
Like you. Like
well,
you're
but
this
it's been
dude.
ingrained into my mind, and in just that's how I think. That's how it doesn't. I can go out to a restaurant.
Like
and-
muscle memory almost.
Exactly. I'll go out to a restaurant, even though I'm not an officer anymore. I'll go out to a restaurant. I won't sit in a position to where I'm going to be vulnerable for something. I will take a seat in a corner where I can see everything. When I go into a bathroom, if I'm going in there to use the bathroom, I'll use a stall with a door rather than staying out in the open, just because I don't feel comfortable turning my back to people. And that's just
You gotta
because
be
how I
monitoring
was
the situation. Yeah.
That's because of how I was trained and the way that I've lived my life for the last 20 years. And, you know, I think that if people would take a few moments and really look at what we did or what we do, it might, and take a chance to get educated about some of that stuff, instead of just automatically listening to whatever they see on TV or whatever they hear from other people or reading the newspapers or online. You know, and especially the online stuff. You get all these video clips from shootings or fights or arrests
stuff.
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, you're only seeing a fraction of that full video. You aren't going to see what led up to that, because that would incriminate the people that are taking the videos.
Who's gonna take it when the cops mad?
Exactly. Yeah, they don't worry about the stuff that they did to cause that situation. They just want you to see what the officer responded by. And they know that's what's wrong. I mean, you're making yourself out to be a liar in a situation like that, because you're not telling the full truth.
It sucks too, because it's encouraged. It's
Exactly.
like it's encouraged upon the public, the social. Like that's the cool thing. Dehumanize cops, make them seem like the bad guys, and if you expose them,
Yeah, that's the new in. Like everyone.
like good job, and
Yeah.
that's not gonna make.
It's not gonna help anything.
Nothing's
Exactly.
gonna work.
It's not gonna.
Exactly. You know, there are certain circumstances where, you know, the bad ones, they need to be held accountable. They need to be caught. They need to
You
be.
reap what you sow. They'll get what what's coming.
But again, like we said earlier, that percentage is very small. The majority of the people that put on the uniform every day are doing so with good intentions, and they want to honestly help people. And if people would start realizing that again, and not making their kids think that, oh, there's a police officer, he's going to take you to jail, you know, that's the other thing.
That's like, why are you teaching kids that?
Right, yeah. and that's the thing. Like anybody, and I don't mean any disrespect, but anybody out there that might be watching this and watching this particular segment, please when you see a police officer, especially if you have your child, that shouldn't be the first thing that you say to them. I know you're just doing it out of fun, and it's, it's kind of a joke and whatnot. And you might even get a laugh out of some of the officers sometimes, but really deep down what we're thinking is you're teaching that child to fear us instead of know that we're there to help. Mm-hmm. So, try to maybe say something different or just refrain altogether from saying stuff like, oh, if you're not good, then he's going to take you to jail, because that just makes the child fear.
Yeah.
And, that's not helping.
Yeah,
I know.
So, that's, I guess, my 2 cents for the moment. But
I 100% agree.
So, yeah, I mean,
you got two dudes backing you.
Just take a moment to thank a police officer when you see him.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be their best friend. You don't have to go over their house for dinner or call them all the time.
Text them.
Just say thanks.
Yeah, just say thanks. And, I've had a lot of people do that, too. I've had a lot of people buy my dinners that I didn't even know. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll go up to pay, and the person that was in front of you already took care of that for you.
That's awesome.
That's good that there's still people like that still appreciate the work.
I'm very grateful for people like that. It's really awesome to know that there are still people out there that care. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I pray every day for the guys and girls that are still doing the job, and they definitely have a tough job to do, and somebody's got to do it. Obviously, we have to have them. I was just at a point in my life, and I'd put so much into that job for such a long time and doing different things. I guess at the risk of sounding selfish, I needed to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And the things I'm doing now.
Sometimes you gotta be selfish. Sometimes you gotta do what you want to do.
You gotta worry about yourself before you can worry about other people. If you're not in a healthy or good spot, how are you gonna?
Right.
Yeah.
And I was getting to the. I wasn't one of the dirty ones, but I was getting to a point mentally where I was worn out. Mm-hmm. I knew that I wasn't putting everything I had into the job anymore, and I knew it was time to do something different. And that's why I'm so thankful. I'm thankful for the time that I had doing it, but I'm thankful for the time now that I have not doing it, because I've got so much more time to devote to family, to myself, to the music, and to the other things that I've put on hold for so long because of that. And, I'm only 43. I still have a lot of life to live, and I want to do that stuff while I can.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it's it shows like a huge character thing that you were able to be like to step back and be like, I am not in the right place to do this right now. It shows a lot that you were able to be in tune with yourself enough to be like.
Well, I appreciate that, and that's something that I think a lot of officers need to think about.
Mm-hmm.
At some point in your career, if you get to the point where you either are just not having fun, you're miserable getting up and going to work every day, or if you just feel like you just can't stay in the job at all, it's time to do something. Whether it's either getting out altogether or whether it's finding something within the job that you can do differently that will get you back to being in love with the job, you have to do it. Mm-hmm. And because the ones that stay in it and constantly every day they just hate it, that's when you're going to get yourself in trouble. That's when you're going to do something that you probably wouldn't normally do, but you're just at that point where you just can't take another person throwing dirt in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And
literal dirt in your
yeah. And it just, that's the times that unfortunately bad things happen, and you need to know when it's time to move on.
Yep.
And I'm thankful that nothing like that ever happened. I knew it was my time to do something different, and I'm enjoying it.
Now we got singing Jay Peterson.
Now we got singing Jay Peterson.
I love it.
Well, I'm enjoying it too. And like I said, I hope there's more things to come. And I thank you guys again. Doing something like this is definitely going to help.
This is helping us a lot too.
Helps us, helps you.
Helps
good,
you.
Good for everyone.
I'm glad to do it.
Yeah,
definitely.
One thing I want to touch on about the police thing was you used to be were a defensive instructor.
Yeah.
Defensive
tactics.
Yeah, defensive tactics.
Uh-huh.
So what is the one, if everyone had to know one move that you're in a situation, at least know this will help you the most, what is it?
Watching people's hands and their body language is very key to any kind of defense, because you can pick up on little cues on the way things are going down, whether or not that person is going to be a physical threat to you, or if it's just talk. If they start if they're clenching their fists, if they're maybe maneuvering themselves in a different position They're not staying in one spot. If they're kind of eyeing things around you to see if there's either maybe a weapon that they can get access to or whatever, or if they're just simply looking at you kind of up and down and kind of,
Squaring.
staring.
Sizing you up,
Just sizing you up. Their body language is one of the most important things to watch for. And that it's not real exciting,
Yeah.
I don't have like some ninja move or nothing.
No,
But just making sure that you're constantly aware of what they're showing you.
Right.
And that more times than not is going to give you the cues that you're going to need to be on your guard and be aware for something to happen, because you're much more it's much easier to react when you anticipate something rather than you're just standing there just kind of
Get blindsided.
nonchalant, and not really being in that zone.
Right.
just take some time to
Whoever has
focus
first move
on
has the
what,
advantage.
clear your eye and be like, what's
Exactly.
going on?
And
with
always
that?
keep your hands available. Don't keep them in your pockets or behind your back or folding your arms like this and stuff
Right.
like that. You want to keep your hands where you're in a position to defend yourself and to react to whatever you've got coming at you. And I'm not Bruce Lee. I'm just, I didn't have any magical moves or anything like
They
that.
have no
but-
sensei teaching you some
No,
moves.
not really. I mean, I took some classes and stuff, but
I'm sure you know what you're doing. You can
Yeah.
throw both of us around at the same time.
Yeah.
well, and, I won't lie. The wrestling thing has helped a lot with stuff like
bet.
that
I
too.
bet, yeah.
Get you off the ground a little bit.
It does, and honestly, there's some moves that are taught during defensive tactics that we actually use in wrestling.
Really? That's
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, ankle locks and different joint locks and stuff like that were part of that too. So yeah, I mean, I've used those numerous times on people that we're trying to arrest and put into cuffs.
That's funny.
I bet,
Yeah.
I bet that's
Full
someone
circle.
who's trying
Yep,
something and
yep.
just gets locked up. Like you're trying to do something, you just get wrapped up. You're like, oh,
Okay,
Gets
now what do we do?
Gets
like
into his
Frederick.
wrestling mode.
Oh, trust me, there were many jokes made about that in my career with other guys after the fact. Hit the elbow, or figure four. I did use the Kurt Angle ankle lock on somebody.
Did you?
I did.
That's got to be a story.
That was awesome. We had a guy who he was laying on his stomach, fighting with us, wouldn't give his hands, and kept him under his. And we had two other guys. They were fighting with him, just trying to get his arms and all that, just to get him handcuffed.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously his legs are free. They're already on the top part of him. So I just grabbed his ankle, hoisted it up in the air, and put the ankle lock on him.
There you
And it
go.
didn't take very long for him to not like that. So then he ended up, whether or not that was all that it took, I don't know, but. That's what I believe.
That was a
anyway.
fine
The
straw.
ankle. Yep, the ankle lock was what it took to
That
get
done?
that guy under arrest. So, yeah.
Damn.
So Kurt Angle, if you're out there, that was a shout out to you.
Thank you for that
Yeah,
move.
yeah,
Thank you for teaching him how to detain
Yes.
someone.
If it wasn't for you, that guy might have got
You
away.
just got a criminal off the streets.
Little did he know, he stopped and cried.
All right.
Oh, man.
Well-
This has been a blast. Dude.
Yeah, I think this
think this
podcast
went
went really well.
Yeah.
I do too. I've enjoyed it.
I
It's-
enjoyed it.
It's been really cool. I appreciate it.
I think we
A
covered
good
a
time.
lot.
We
We've
did.
got a show coming up, like we said, August 6th at
Tuesday
7
night.
p.m.
Yep, this Tuesday night, August 6th, 7 p.m., Central Park, downtown Elkhart.
Central Park,
Um,
you guys know where that's at.
Right by the plaza. So it's a really cool event too. It's called the Night Out Against Crime, and this is probably the 8th or 9th, maybe even 10th year that they've done it. But it's a free event for the public. So if you live in or around Elkhart, downtown area, come down. The whole event itself, I think, starts at 5 and it runs till 8. They've got kids games, they've got food, they've got prizes, they've got other entertainment that's going to be at the stage or in the park area. They've got a lot of displays up on the plaza for the fire and police departments, different vehicles and stuff like that. I think they're doing canine demonstration.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Cool.
and I think they've got some of the CSI people will be doing fingerprinting and other like CSI demonstration type
Yeah.
stuff. So there's a lot for the family, a lot for everybody to do, and like I said, for the most part, as far as I know, everything is free,
Oh, wow.
except for maybe some of the food vendors, but they do have free food available too. So.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yep, come on
in,
down
bring
and
your
check it
family.
out. And
We're
we
gonna
play
have
at
to stop
7.
by,
Reckless
Joe.
Intent goes on the stage at 7 o'clock. We play for about an hour, so
It'll be fun.
come
That's
out and
awesome.
see us.
We're going to have to go out there and see Jay Peterson and Reckless
Yeah.
Intent.
Man,
Yeah,
we'll
buddy.
Make a vlog.
Come on out. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Here is his. Are you still active on this?
Yes.
Okay, so people
I haven't
can
done.
find you here.
Yep, I haven't done much lately on the YouTube page.
Yeah, so-
However, we're going to be starting another one for the whole band.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
and we'll have that up and running pretty soon. So I'll have my videos, and then we'll have obviously all of our actual concert videos posted to that for people to see. And so yeah, come on out, check us out, and we'll have some merchandise available here shortly in the near future. Some T-shirts and hats.
Reckless Intent.
Yeah.
That's a cool name. I like
some
it.
beer koozies.
Like
Oh yeah, gotta have the beer koozies.
Oh yeah,
especially if you're country, you gotta have something beer.
Yep, yeah, you do. But we'll have pictures on Tuesday for everybody. Free, no charge for those. Pictures of the band. Come up, meet us, say hi. We'd love to meet everybody and get to know everybody that's coming to see us. So
that's awesome. We'll leave your link in the description for everything to find you at.
Please do.
Is there anything you want to plug? Say what you got coming up.
Well, really, the big thing right now,
statement.
just for next week, is the night out. We've got some other places that are talking to us, kind of out of the area that probably wouldn't be Elkhart people,
Super
but
local, but
yeah,
who knows who sees it though?
Yeah, exactly.
We have some people in Dubai.
Yeah. Hey, if you want to drive that far, or fly that far, go right ahead.
Got
but
till
yeah,
Tuesday.
Yeah. We've got hopefully some things in the Fort Wayne area that are going to be putting together here pretty soon. We're kind of in talks for a New Year's Eve thing up in Michigan at Cowboy Up. I'm not sure if we're going to do that yet or not, but hopefully that'll be in our future. And then whatever else we can get around here. If you're looking for a band, you're looking for country, southern rock, definitely give us a call. Hit us up on either the Facebook page or, drop us a message on one of our YouTube videos, something like that. But yeah, we would love to see you. We'd love to put something together if somebody's looking for a band, and we'll do it.
We got some
Sweet
guys out here. We got,
oh no!
We got A. Peterson. Okay, you got J.
Yeah,
You know who he is.
Exactly, yeah.
At J. Peterson Music.
Yeah, at J. Peterson
Well,
Music.
it was super fun having
Yeah,
you
dude, this
on.
was a good time.
Great
Thank you.
podcast. How long was this one, Kiara?
Hour.
Wow. We
That
have
went by
very
quick.
few that reach an hour, so that was
Yeah.
that
If
was
they go
flew
an
by.
we usually shoot for 30 minutes to an hour. If
Uh-huh.
we go an hour, we're really vibing.
yeah,
That's
it was
awesome,
awesome,
man.
we're great time.
we're
Thank
doing
you.
good. So
This is really cool.
yeah, I enjoyed it, man.
Thank you.
Everyone, again, be sure to check out Jay Peterson and Reckless Intent. Make sure to check out his music. Like he said, he has something coming up Tuesday. Guys, he's an awesome guy, as you see. He has a lot of life experience in a bunch of different fields. Good guy. Someone you should get to know and check out his music, guys.
Oh yeah, guys, check him out. So thank you for watching our podcast, episode number 6. Wait till number 7, guys. Until next time, goodbye. All right.
Dude, that was
That was
Yeah,
it.
the J fell like at minute 20.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, so
I was
it fell a while ago.
Oh, well.